Did you know that most relationships don't end because of a big explosion, but because of a slow, silent leak that no one bothered to fix? There is a terrifying psychological statistic that suggests a huge percentage of people in long-term relationships are not actually in love, they are just in place. They stayed because it was easy, because of the kids, or because they were afraid of being alone. But here is the hard truth. If your partner has stopped choosing you every day, they have already started leaving you. They just haven't walked through the door yet. Today, we are going to dive deep into the psychology of the placeholder partner, why being tolerated is more dangerous than being hated, and how to recognize the exact moment a relationship shifts from a mutual choice to a ticking time bomb. Most people live by default. We live by design. If you are the person quietly dismantling old patterns to build a future that actually belongs to you, you've found your circle. We don't do victim here, we do vision. Subscribe to sharpen your awareness, leave a comment, and bring your insight to the table. No noise, no ego, just the blueprint for a stronger mind. Let's get to work. To understand why a partner who doesn't choose you will eventually betray you, we first have to define what choosing actually looks like in human psychology. In the beginning of a relationship, choice is easy. It's fueled by new emotions and excitement. But as time goes on, choice becomes a mental discipline. It is the active decision to prioritize your partner's needs, to maintain attraction, and to close the door on outside temptations. When a person stops making this active choice, they enter a state called relational drifting. They are still physically in the house, but their mind is starting to wander into what-if scenarios. The danger of a drifting partner is that they rarely tell you they are unhappy. Instead, they become passive. They stop arguing, they stop asking deep questions, and they stop investing in the future. Psychologically, they are creating emotional distance to protect themselves. They are waiting for something better to come along, or for the pain of staying to become greater than the fear of leaving. This is the placeholder syndrome. You aren't their partner, you're just the person holding the spot until they find who they actually want. And because they don't truly value the spot you hold, they won't feel a deep sense of guilt when they eventually betray that space. Let's look at a story about a man named Justin. Justin had been with a woman named Megan for 6 years. Megan was a good woman by all social standards. She was kind, she had a stable job, and she supported Justin's dreams. But Justin never felt that click. He was with her because she was safe. He liked the way she made his life easier, but he didn't choose her. He just accepted her. He told himself that this was what mature love looked like. No drama, just stability. The negative outcome for Justin and Megan began when Justin started a new project at work with a woman named Chloe. Chloe was exciting and challenging. Because Justin had never made the internal commitment to choose Megan, he had no psychological shield against Chloe. He didn't see himself as a cheater. He saw himself as a man who was finally waking up. He began an affair with Chloe, believing he had finally found the one. The tragedy wasn't just the affair, it was the 2 years of Megan's life that Justin wasted by being a placeholder. When the truth came out, Megan was destroyed, not just by the cheating, but by the realization that Justin had never really been in the relationship. Justin's mistake was thinking that staying was the same as committing. He learns that if you don't actively choose your partner, you are essentially leaving a back door open in your mind, and eventually someone else will walk through it. Have you ever felt like you were being tolerated rather than celebrated in a relationship? Have you ever felt that cold distance where your partner is physically there but mentally miles away? Tell us in the comments, what were the small signs that told you your partner had stopped choosing you? The second psychological pattern we need to understand is the resentment of the obligated. When a person stays in a relationship because they feel they have to, perhaps because of social pressure, finances, or guilt, they start to view your partner as a jailer. Even if you are the best husband or wife in the world, they will start to resent you because you represent the bars of their prison. This resentment is a powerful emotional trigger for betrayal. In their mind, cheating isn't a sin, it's an act of rebellion. It's their way of stealing back their freedom without having to go through the messy process of a divorce or a breakup. In the red pill observation of human behavior, we see that men and women handle this obligation differently. A man who feels obligated might become silent and withdrawn, spending all his time at work or on hobbies to avoid the weight of a home he didn't choose. A woman who feels obligated might become critical and emotionally volatile, picking fights over small things because she is subconsciously trying to get the man to leave her so she doesn't have to be the bad person who ends it. Both behaviors are exit strategies in disguise. They are signs that the internal choice has died. Another deep psychological concept is the validation gap. When someone isn't choosing you, they stop giving you the specific kind of validation you need to feel secure. This creates a gap in the relationship. As humans, we are wired to seek validation. If we don't get it at home, our brains become hypersensitive to getting it from outside sources. This is why emotional affairs often start. It's not about the sex, it's about the feeling of being chosen by someone new. The person who feels ignored at home suddenly feels alive because a stranger noticed their new haircut or asked about their day. For the person being cheated on, the discovery often leads to a crisis of self-worth. You start asking, what does the other person have that I don't? But the answer is usually nothing. The other person isn't better than you, they are just new. They represent the choice that the partner wanted to make. This is why you cannot fix a cheating partner by being better. You can't be more beautiful, more successful, or more kind to make them choose you. Choice comes from within them, not from what you do. Now let's look at a story of growth. A man named Robert. Robert found himself in a relationship with a woman named Amanda. He realized about a year in that he was drifting. He liked Amanda, but he found himself looking at other women and wondering if he could do better. Instead of letting the drift continue, Robert practiced psychological sovereignty. He sat down and had a very uncomfortable conversation with himself. He asked, am I here because I want to build a kingdom with this woman, or am I here because I'm afraid to be alone? The positive outcome for Robert was the power of the recommitment. He realized that his drifting was a habit of his own mind, a fear of missing out. He decided to burn the ships. He deleted his old dating apps, he stopped entertaining flirty conversations at the gym, and he started investing deeply in Amanda. He started choosing her every morning. He noticed that the more he chose her, the more attractive she became to him. The growth was that Robert realized love isn't a feeling you find, it's a structure you build through daily choice. He saved himself from becoming a betrayer by taking accountability for his own internal state. He learned that if you don't choose your partner with 100% of your will, you are just a tourist in your own life, and tourists eventually go home. He turned his default relationship into a designed partnership. The red pill truth here is that attention is a currency. Where you spend your attention is where you build your life. If your partner is spending their mental currency on social media, on work husbands or wives, or on past exes, they are bankrupting your relationship. You cannot build a fortune of trust with someone who is constantly spending their interest elsewhere. You have to be with someone who understands that exclusivity isn't just about bodies, it's about focus. Why do we often stay with people who only give us 50% of their focus? Why do we settle for being a priority only when it's convenient for them? Let's talk about this in the comments. How do you distinguish between a partner who is busy and a partner who has stopped choosing you? As we go deeper, I want you to realize that betrayal is the symptom, not the disease. The disease is the lack of active choice. When someone stops choosing you, the relationship becomes a dead tree. It might still be standing, it might still look okay from a distance, but the roots are dry. The first wind that blows, a new coworker, a stressful month, an old flame, will knock it over. To protect yourself, you have to stop looking at what they say and start looking at how they choose. Most people watch to be entertained. You're likely here to be informed. This channel is a space for those who hold themselves to a higher standard of logic. If that resonates, subscribe and join a community that values deep psychology over cheap drama. I want to see your perspective in the comments. This is a place for data and dialogue, not judgment. If you're ready for the truth, stay tuned. The third pillar of this analysis is the discipline of de-escalating outside interest. In the modern world, we are surrounded by micro-temptations. Social media, work environments, and even old friends can provide easy dopamine. A partner who chooses you understands that they must actively de-escalate these situations before they become a problem. If someone is flirting with them, they don't enjoy the attention. They shut it down because they value the sanctity of their choice. If your partner enjoys being available to the world while being taken by you, they are playing a dangerous psychological game. They are keeping their options open, which is the first step towards betrayal. This leads us to the concept of character consistency. You can tell if a partner will eventually betray you by looking at how they treat other choices in their life. Do they stay committed to their fitness goals when it gets hard? Do they stay loyal to their friends when things get messy? Do they keep their word in business? If a person has a pattern of quitting or changing their mind whenever they feel a bit of discomfort, they will eventually do the same to you. Loyalty isn't a switch you turn on for one person. It is a trait you carry in your soul. A person with low consistency is psychologically wired to seek the path of least resistance, and in a long-term marriage, the path of least resistance is often found in the arms of someone new. Let's look at a story about a woman named Heather. Heather was in a relationship with a man named Daniel. Daniel was charming and fun, but he was a feeling seeker. He only did things when he felt like it. He changed jobs every year because he got bored. He stopped going to the gym because it was too much work. Heather thought that because Daniel loved her, he would be different with the relationship. She thought her love was the anchor that would hold him steady. The negative outcome for Heather was the slow fade. After 3 years, the newness of Heather wore off. Daniel didn't hate her, but he stopped choosing her. He started staying out late with the guys and forgetting to call. When he eventually met someone else who gave him that new feeling, he didn't even fight the temptation. He walked right into a betrayal because he had never built the muscle of choosing something when it wasn't easy. Heather's mistake was vetting for chemistry instead of character. She learned that charming is not the same as reliable. Have you ever been with a feeling seeker? Someone who is wonderful when things are great but disappears or gets bored when life gets real. Tell us in the comments, how do you now identify character strength in the early stages of dating? The fourth pillar is the power of shared mission. A partner who chooses you is someone who sees you as a co-pilot in a larger mission. When two people are working towards a shared goal, whether it's building a business, raising a family, or achieving a specific lifestyle, the relationship becomes functional. Betrayal becomes a logical error. It would be like a pilot crashing their own plane just to see what the explosion looks like. People who choose each other usually have a why that is bigger than just we like each other. If your relationship has no mission, it is just a leisure activity, and people change their leisure activities all the time. In the red pill world, we emphasize that a man must have a purpose and a woman must align with that purpose, or vice versa, to create a structural bond. Without this alignment, you were just two people hanging out until one of you gets a better offer. Direct communication about your long-term vision is the only way to see if your partner is choosing the life you are building or just the comfort you provide. Now let's look at a story of growth, a woman named Nicole. Nicole had a history of being with placeholder men. She decided to change her vetting process. When she met a man named Simon, she didn't just look at how he treated her on dates. She looked at his daily disciplines. She saw that Simon was a man of his word. He was consistent with his family, his health, and his career. Most importantly, Simon was direct. He told Nicole, "I'm not looking for a girlfriend to pass the time. I'm looking for a partner to build a life with. If that isn't what you want, we shouldn't waste each other's time." The positive outcome for Nicole and Simon was the fortress marriage. Because they both chose each other based on shared values and character, their relationship felt solid. There was no guessing, there was no anxiety. Even when they went through a hard year financially, they didn't drift apart, they leaned in. Simon didn't seek validation elsewhere because his self-worth was tied to his integrity, not his dopamine. Nicole learned that being chosen by a man of character is 100 times more valuable than being desired by a man of impulse. The red pill truth here is that you cannot fix a partner who has a hole in their soul. If someone doesn't choose themselves, if they don't have self-respect, discipline, and a clear set of values, they will never be able to choose you. They will always be looking for a mirror to tell them they are special. Your job is to be a partner, not a parent or a therapist. You must vet for a partner who is self-sustaining. A person who is already whole is the only person who can make a clean choice to stay. For the men, realize that your consistency is your greatest attraction tool. A high-value woman wants to know that the man she chooses is a rock, not a cloud. If you change your mind every week, she will eventually stop choosing your leadership, and that is when the drift begins. Lead with certainty. For the women, realize that attention is not commitment. A man can give you 24/7 attention because he is bored, but that doesn't mean he has chosen you. Watch how he handles challenge. A man who chooses you when it's hard is the only man worth your time. Trust his actions, never his poetry. The reason it is so hard to let go of a partner who doesn't choose you is hope. We hope that if we love them enough, they will finally see us. But seeing is a cognitive function. If they haven't seen you by now, it's because they are looking at themselves. You have to have the self-respect to walk away from a table where respect is no longer being served. Moving forward means realizing that you are a prize that must be earned every single day. As we finish this lecture, I want you to look at your relationship or your past ones through the lens of active choice. Did they choose you, or did they just accept you because you were there? And more importantly, are you choosing them, or are you just afraid of the silence of being alone? The truth might hurt, but the truth is the only thing that can set you free to find a partnership that is unbreakable. Build your life so that you are whole on your own, and then only accept a partner who chooses to add to your kingdom rather than someone who just wants to hide in it. Staying until the end isn't just about finishing a video, it's about refusing to look away from the truth. I appreciate you being here for the full conversation. It shows you're ready to apply what you learn rather than just hearing it. Subscribe to lock in this standard for yourself. We're building a community where boundaries and self-respect are the baseline, not the exception. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading your take. Keep challenging the narrative. I'll see you in the next one.